Creatures of the night, it's your girl Tati. Let's talk about New Japan Resurgence. Initially, I did miss the pre-show. Typically, I don't really talk about the pre-show. I was watching Ring of Honor, trying to catch up with that before the pay-per-view started. But for the pre-show, we actually had not a return. Well, in a way, a return, yes. B. Presley, also known as Blair Davenport, has come to New Japan. This was not a planned match for the show. We only had one pre-show match. Typically, it's always one pre-show match for the most part. And this was not announced until she came out. The lights went off. She comes on out. Everybody's just like, whoa, what's she doing here? What's she doing here? She said, today is day 90 and I'm done. I'm ready to fight. And then she challenges, said, if any of y'all hoes back there can come out here and want to fight me, come on out. Viva Van comes out and have a match with her. But B. Presley ends up taking the win. This was on a shorter side, not a squash situation. But one of those things to just be like, hey, the 90 days are up and I'm ready to get to work. And I thought this was a really great match. Viva Van, that's my girl. That's my girl. She did win the Vietnamese championship earlier this week. However, I would love to see her take more wins. I absolutely would love to see her take more wins. But a really great effort here in terms of B letting everyone know that I'm ready to put in the work. So maybe I think we're probably going to be able to see her perhaps within Stardom. Not necessarily sure. No details are out at this point. But I'm looking forward to see what's next for her. Now, main card, we have Fred Rosser going against Matt Vandegrift. Let me just say this. I ain't got nothing to do with none of the wrestlers. It was too dark in there. It was too dark in there. The entire crowd was dark. That's not the issue. They only had like 4 lights from each corner just coming into the ring. You can see what's happening in the ring. But if they were to get outside the ring, that's when you start losing things because it's too dark to tell what's going on. Like even at some points when during some of the matches they're going into the crowd, you're not able to see anything because it's way too dark. And honestly, and then the camera, look, don't let that discourage you from watching the show because it was a good show. I have to say this because like we need to bring things up in terms of the production value because even cameraman fucking up and everything, especially when Fred Rosser oiled up with baby oil and everything, and I'm not getting a good look. Like I don't appreciate that. I don't appreciate that. It was a great matchup to start off the show. Crowd was quiet. I feel like the crowd was quiet for at least like the first hour or so of the card, and I thought that was really strange to me. Like people don't realize how important crowd participation is. I look at when you're quiet, you're bored. Nothing else. Like sometimes you can tell if the fans are quiet because they're focused. You can tell the difference. I've been to so many wrestling shows. Like I can tell the difference between we're quiet because we're focused on this and we're really into this versus we're quiet because we're fucking bored. Whatever. Fred Rosser ends up taking the win. The match is nothing to get your penny in a bunch about. After this, we do have New Japan Strong Openweight Tag titles on the line. And I'm just watching this. I'm like, all right, we got United Empire coming in there, titleless. TJP and Templario to go against the world-class Wrecking Crew. And this was a great match. I thought this was a great match. At times, everybody trying to be in the ring at the same time. Sometimes I just don't care for that. But I was just like, the title's not going anywhere. The World Class Wrecking Crew, they even have it that long. And I have to stop thinking that way. That, oh, well, they haven't had it that long. They're not losing. Like, I need to stop thinking that way. Because apparently that means not a damn thing. Because United Empire ends up taking the win. And I was just like, what? Are you serious? Let me say something. They didn't even ring the bell or nothing. Like, the crowd didn't even know that they even won. Okay? There is something with a disconnect with them making sure that they're ringing the bell. The referee saying, hey, the match is over, but I counted to 3. I don't know what was going on with that as well. So even after they won, everybody was just sitting there because nobody even knew that the match was over. The bell ringing is very important for people to know when it's starting and when it's over. And unfortunately, that didn't happen. All I saw was the referee go get the titles and hand them over to the United Empire. And I was like, oh, so they won. Great. Congratulations to the new champions. Now after this, we have the Bullet Club War Dogs. We have Ghetto. We have David Finlay, Clark Connors. Lord have mercy, Clark Connors. Oh my God, Clark Connors. Oh, and Gabe Kidd going against the Young Fucks. And the mystery partners of Young Fucks are the Good Brothers. They all came out there wearing black and white, a mansion or whatever. And I'm just like, the Good Brothers, what is it about the Good Brothers that I've never connected with them with? Like, I just don't know. In my opinion, they're kind of boring, and I haven't really seen some. It gives generic tag teams to me. I haven't seen anything that really makes them stand out from other teams. Whatever. They end up having their match, 30-minute time limit, which I was kind of surprised about because I was actually kind of expecting something really lengthy with these two teams. Now, the one thing I hate about multi-man matches is everybody got spots to do and everybody's trying to prove something in the ring, and at times it get messy. It was hard to tell like who's the legal guy and who wasn't, you know? And it was just like, well, we got spots to fill here. We got things we got to do. And while they're doing that, I feel like certain times throughout the match are kind of confused on like what we doing, you know? I think it was great to see, not that I'm happy to see the Young Bucks, but it was good to see them with their friends over there doing something. Surprise, surprise, the Young Bucks team ends up taking the win. I didn't like the finish. They end up, Ghetto of all people, obviously they used to be the fall guy. They end up hitting him with the BTE trigger, and then they hit him with the Meltzer driver. And then the Good Brothers hit him with their finisher. I forgot the name of the finisher. But it kind of felt a little bit like an overkill. And the reason why I'm saying this is because after the BTE trigger and then after the Meltzer driver, they do nothing. Like nothing happened for like a minute or something. I don't know what was going on where there was a disconnect where it's just like you left Ghetto like just laying there instead of pinning him. Like, what? I don't know if the Good Brothers missed their cue. Whatever the situation is really noticeable because it just doesn't happen smoothly like how you would want to. It's like finisher, 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 win. And it just didn't happen that way. And they end up taking the win and they're celebrating and they're like, too sweet, and all that shit, like whatever. And then they're even trying to celebrate with the War Dogs after. When I tell you the New Japan Academy boys came up and got Ghetto's damn near lifeless body out the ring so fast. Oh my God, that was so fucking funny. The War Dogs like, well, we ain't fucking with y'all. We ain't cool with y'all. We'll see y'all tomorrow night at Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling. I will be covering that as well. And they're supposed to have a match, War Dogs, which is just Clark Connors and Gabe, to go against what's their name? The not the Young Bucks, the Good Brothers. So that should be an interesting matchup to see how things continue to play out. The Good Brothers, you know, I guess it was good for some of y'all to see them, but I don't know what the relationship would be in the long term when it comes to them being part of New Japan. I don't think a lot of fans are just like, y'all left us high and dry. Whenever Triple H call y'all tuck y'all tails in between y'all ass and y'all go back over there to WWE. So a lot of people are not feeling them if they are part of New Japan again. But I'm just gonna I'm hold my reservations to the side and see how things work out in the long run. Up next, the New Japan Strong Openweight Championship on the line. We do have Driller Maloney. Lord have mercy. Oh my God. Driller Maloney with the right amount of baby oil too. I don't know. It's good. It's good. Versus a Stone Pitbull, Tomohiro Ishii. This, in my opinion, while I enjoyed it, I feel like we didn't even get Chop City Ishii, like how Ishii be chopping people like at least 100 times. Like there barely was any of that. Something about it was just like maybe Ishii is just taking it a little easy tonight, which I felt like was a little off for him today. A really great matchup. Drilla being so much bigger than Ishii, obviously taller and just different stature. It's so noticeable, like the size difference between the two of them. So like I said, something felt a little off with not seeing typical. Maybe it's because after what we seen him do with Gabe recently when they had the Windy City Riot pay-per-view, it gave off a little bit of a different vibe. Either way, he ends up retaining, which was the right call. I'm not sure entirely what we're going to do with the War Dogs moving forward, but you know, Forbidden Doors in August, we can be using some of these guys to be on AEW to get storylines going. And I don't know if that's the route they're going to end up taking, but that would be great to really help get people invested into Forbidden Door. I would love to see more of a tight-knit partnership between the two of them, because, you know, just sending Ishii over and pretty much writing him off every few weeks and then bringing him back and bring him back to Japan, like, it's just kind of over with. Something strong with War Dogs would be really nice moving forward in AEW. After this, we have the Never Openweight Championship match. Konosuke Takeshita as champion. El Phantasmo, he has a TV title, which was on the line last week. That ended up in a time limit draw. So this time, we had 60 minutes on the clock. And they gave us a really good match. Now, I personally thought this was better than the match that they had last week. Last week was only working with 15 minutes and kind of feeling like, well, I don't have too much time to really get what I need to get done within this small time frame. This 60-minute time frame, I feel like they looked more relaxed to get done what they needed to get done. The match can end at any point, but at least you know you got 60 minutes to get something done. This time, I felt like we saw quite a bit of El Phantasmo, a little dominant over Takeshita. We don't always see that, and I thought this was a good look for him because we knew he was losing anyway. But at least he got some opportunity to be, you know, looking like the better man at some point. Rocky Romero is ringside, looking real good. But honestly, I didn't think he needed to be there. Like, Takeshita, he's able to hold his own. However, he is part of the Don Callis family, so I understand why someone who he's in alliance with was a ringside with him. The only time that he was actually kind of needed was when they ended up, when El Phantasmo ends up pinning Takeshita, and it looks like Takeshita may not get his ass up. Rocky ends up pulling the referee out the ring. He's really upset about it. And ELP was just like, nah, bitch, you're not going to come up in here and ruin my opportunities to get in another title. He ends up putting Rocky through a table, which was a nice little fun spot. However, Takeshita ends up retaining the title. So El Phantasmo, I think he looks strong here, much stronger than their last match. However, it's not like El Phantasmo is not going home with a title. He's still got the TV title. Both of these guys going their separate ways. I'm pretty sure we'll see them in a match again in the future. So now, we are down to our co-main events. So in the beginning of the show, they always show the matches that we're going to have, and they show them in a particular order in terms of the order that they put in the show. So when they showed it, they showed the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship last, and they showed the New Japan Strong Women's Championship second to last. So I'm thinking, okay, well, let's get ready for CEO and the girls. And all of a sudden, here is the video package for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. I was like, oh, that's surprising. Okay, I wonder why that was coming on before the women's match. So we have Zack Sabre Jr. going against Goto. This was a great matchup. Where does it compare from when they had their championship matchup a couple of months ago? It's not better, no. But I will say this. Zach was pulling all the tricks. He said, bitch, I'm getting that title back tonight. He's putting up all the tricks. And several times I was worried for Goto. And I was just like, we getting our title back. Sorry, Goto, but that's just how it is. Now, here comes, towards the end, Zach is like, okay, you know what? I'm not playing nice. I'm going to win. And if you feel some type of way about it, if everybody feels some type of way about it, oh well, I don't feel no type of way about it, Zach. So in the end, we had what seems like, I'm trying to describe it, but like it seemed like Goto goes for like a German, and Zack counters to pin him down. Both his shoulders are down, but then Zack's shoulders are down as well. Referee counts 1, 2, 3, which I didn't even hear. I didn't even hear fucking counting, to be honest with you. And then all of a sudden, here is him running over to the damn ring announcer, and he's talking to him in Japanese. I don't know what he's saying, but I was like, so Zack won, right? We taking the title back on home, right? Nope. He just gets back into the ring. They don't necessarily say what's happening. It's very confusing in terms of the lack of anybody like saying what's happening. The announcer is speaking in Japanese, so he doesn't say what actually happened, and everybody just like, well, what's happening? Then all of a sudden, referee seems to have said something to Zack, and Zack looks really angry, snatches that bitch up, and was ready to whoop his ass. And I'm not gonna lie, that did kind of turn me on. I like seeing that aggressiveness. But the referee ends up escaping, unfortunately. Goto retains due to double pin. They was booing the fuck out of the referee. Everybody booing, everybody's upset. And I'm just like, well, what are we doing here? This is a situation where it was just like, we don't want Zack to lose, but we don't want Goto to lose. So we're just gonna have it where they both not necessarily won, but not necessarily lost either. And I was just like, in the moment, it seems really strange. The longer you think about it and kind of convince yourself, you're like, okay, I understand. Perhaps they're going for a third matchup at some point. I don't honestly know. It's very awkward. Not necessarily too much that it was a double pin, but the lack of letting the audience know what's going on. There was no bell rung at that very moment. It didn't seem like we even heard a 3 count. Zack don't know what's going on. Goto don't know what's going on. The whole crowd is just sitting there like, okay, well, what happened? It just, something about it just was like, it could have been a lot more than what it was if the communication between everyone watching would understand exactly what the hell they were looking at. Zack Sabre Jr. is really upset, and he ends up pretty much storming out of there. And honestly, baby, I will be storming out of there as well. If you need someone to help you with the ice packs and all that other stuff, I am available. I am okay with this. We do know Shingo Takagi came on last week and said, whichever one of you two motherfuckers win the title at Resurgence, I'm going to go against you. So now we're going to have Shingo Takagi going against Goto at Dominion. So we'll just wait and see where that goes. But I have a feeling that we will still see at least a third match between Zack Sabre Jr. and Goto. On to the main event. New Japan Strong Women's title on the line. Our champion CEO comes out there. She looks great. She's going against Azumi and Mina Shirakawa. Azumi and Mina Shirakawa, they had a match at Windy City Riot to determine who was going to go against CEO. That ended out in a double count out because both these girls was just fighting outside the ring. They didn't even give a fuck about the match at that point. So now here we are in a triple threat match, and I thought this was very lovely. I really would like to see more matches when it comes to triple threats for the women. I'm not saying overdo it. I would just like to see more of it. It just really keeps the suspense going in terms of not even the champion needs to be needs to be pinned in order to win this. So this just made the stakes a little bit higher, especially for CEO. With that being said, as great as this match was, can you believe that you have to watch this match on mute because there was a girl in that motherfucking crowd who was screaming to the top of her lungs from the moment CEO came out to the moment the match was over. I could not believe somebody was wilding like that on the show. If it was me and I was back there in Gorilla, I would be like, get her out of here. Tell her to shut her mouth or get her out of there. And I know that sounds horrible to say because you want the crowd to be interacting and making noise or whatever, but this was extremely obnoxious for someone to be screaming like they were damn near probably getting killed in the audience. I could not believe somebody was acting up like that. Now, even at some point, you even see like CEO was just like, bitch, shut the fuck up. Like, why are you screaming like that? Whatever. Anyway, they were amazing. These three girls had great chemistry with each other. At times, all three of them were teaming up to go against another one, just trying to make things a little easier on the others. And I really thought that they had great chemistry. CEO, I kept thinking to myself, well, she's going to retain. I'm not even worried about it. She's going to retain. They're going to go on to Double or Nothing, maybe even win the Owen Hart Cup. And when the girls, Azumi and Mina, pretty much get CEO out the way for a moment, these two girls are going back at it really, really fast paced. And I was just like, hold on, they're really trying to get this shit done before CEO can get her ass back up. And Azumi ends up taking the win. Mercedes is in the corner like, I know they didn't just fucking finish this match without me and I'm losing my title. She ends up getting really upset and even getting into it with Mina Shirakawa, and they end up running all the way backstage while Azumi's in the ring celebrating. And I thought this was really great win for Azumi. Where do things go for Mina and CEO? Well, they probably ran on over to AEW. That's where they belong. We have a new champion with Azumi. Congratulations on the title. It's officially Azumi time. Overall, creatures, I think this was a great pay-per-view. The only thing I would actually complain about, honestly, was the production of the show. I just thought that it was too dark at times, and the lighting wasn't great. Camera work, we need to definitely work on that. And it's just one of those things that I do feel like moving forward that New Japan, we got to prioritize because, you know, we're putting shows out there. We're trying to encourage more people, especially people in the United States, to watch New Japan. And for me, I just felt like we could have done a lot better when it came to that. Oh, and the referees too. Obviously, what happened with Zach and Goto, that's obviously part of the show. I know that. But the lack of people understanding, because twice we had on the show where people just didn't know that the matches were over, and things, little things like that can throw things off in terms of those who are watching and those who are at the show. Overall, great show. President Tanahashi, if people won't have to get let go, they're going to have to get let go. But have a little production meeting before we start firing people. You guys, thank you so much for watching my review. I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.